Hi there. So you've decided that you want to start cooking a few more meals from home, maybe try to get those meals a little bit healthier. You've gone through the basics, you've watched episode 1 with some of the basic requirements for tools, and then you've got your knives and you've got your pots and pans. But what other things do you need in the kitchen? What tools are essential and what gadgets can you avoid? That's what this episode of Kitchen Tips for Beginners is going to cover for you. My name's Jen Sabotin of Fuel Your Transformation. Welcome to this episode. Let's go ahead and take a look. So, there are some tools that you absolutely need in your kitchen, and other things that you can get away with not having for a while, or maybe even ever. We're going to go ahead and take a look at a few tools here that I think are kitchen essentials. So, the first one is this guy. Do you know what that is? Look at that. Can you tell what that is? That's a thermometer. So that's a kitchen thermometer. It kind of looks a little scary, and they come in different sizes. This one is a longer one. There are shorter ones, but this is a meat thermometer. So when you're cooking a roast or a turkey or some big piece of meat, and you want to make sure that it's done to the right recommended temperature, you need to make sure that the internal temperature, the inside temperature of the meat, is where it needs to be for safe consumption. If you eat raw meat, it can make you pretty sick. It doesn't matter what your oven says, whether it's old or new, whether it, is a high-end model or not so much. Some ovens don't keep their temperature right where they're supposed to be. So this kitchen thermometer, this meat thermometer, will help you get the roast or turkey or chicken or whatever to the right temperature. And if you're a beginner, that's going to be important to know. Especially if you're working with a piece of meat that you're maybe not so familiar with. Once you get the hang of some things that you've done for a while, you might be able to just judge them on time with your oven. But when you start getting to things that are a little bit more sophisticated, or like I said, roasts or things that maybe you haven't done before, definitely want to check this guy out. So kitchen thermometer, it's an essential. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is a pair of tongs. Now, tongs come in different types. So we have this kind of tong, and I mean, these guys are a little worse for wear. They're not so pretty anymore, but these are our go-tos. These guys get a workout. They're sort of like that scissor sort of a mechanism there. Great for flipping over bacon, great for picking up some sort of a vegetable on a tray and flipping it over, even for maybe even grabbing a pork chop and turning it over, or if you're cooking turkey thighs or chicken breasts or something like that in a pan on the stovetop. This would be great for flipping them over. All right. Now, another option is something that looks like this. And this one has a little lock right here, so you push it in and it unlocks them. So this one kind of reminds me of lobster claws. So this one is more of a squeezing mechanism here, and its default is to try to open, like the mouth is open, and you have to squeeze it closed. So again, you'd be grabbing things and turning them over. Here's the deal about these two things. If you watched the episode on pots and pans, you'll remember I said that in a non-stick surface, you don't want to use a metal tool. So these are not for a non-stick pan. These are great for a roasting pan or for a stainless steel pan or a sheet tray or something like that. But if you're working in a non-stick pan, you want to go with something like this that's either plastic, or this actually has the heat-resistant silicone edges. It's a little bulkier. I'll tell you, this one's not my favorite. I do use it when I'm in the non-stick pans, which is not really all that often. But it will do the job, and they may make some new ones that are in this style with silicone. It's probably time for me to look at maybe reinvesting in those. These are not expensive tools, so and they are not forever. We talked about pots and pans being an investment, and the pots and pans that I showed you are like 20 years old or more. These are not going to last that long. All right, so these are tools that you'll use for a while, and eventually they'll need to be replaced. So, some sort of kitchen tongs. This one kind of looks like A medieval torture device, right? So this one, you guys know what that one is? This is a potato masher. So if you're going to boil potatoes to make mashed potatoes, you just take them in the pan after they're cooked and you smash them with this. Now, some people, I know when I was a kid, my mom used to use a mixer, a hand mixer, to make mashed potatoes. But here's the deal, and I was talking with my husband about this because we share the cooking duties. We both like to cook for our family, and so we share that responsibility. You've got to get out the mixer, you've got to put the beaters in, you've got to plug it in, you've got to get going, then you've got to wash it all off and put it back in the box or in its little cupboard or whatever. This, it sits in one of those little caddies on the shelf, and when I use it, great, and then I wash it off and put it back. Those are the only steps. So it makes it pretty simple, and it's actually kind of fun. You can work out a little aggression there. I would say that when you're looking at one of these, it's important to get one that's solid. This one we like. I'll link the brand to you in the blog there. It's very sturdy as far as the construction. I'll tell you, like I said, my husband helps with some of the cooking duties. We've gone through a few of these. We've had some cheaper brands that don't attach both sides up here in the handle. It's sort of just like a free form. And with the strength of mashing the potatoes, they've broken. This one has actually lasted quite a long time, and so we like it. Potato masher. All right, the next thing you're going to want to have, absolutely an essential, is measuring cups. Now, this one is a glass measuring cup. It measures 2 cups of liquid. 2 cups is equal to a pint. And you can see that along the side, it's got different measurements there. So you know it's got, this one has the metric and the standard. So this is for measuring, you know, 1/3 of a cup of oil, 2 cups of water, 1.5 cups of milk, whatever, something like that. So this is glass, so you do have to be careful with it. I mean, it's nice and thick, it's sturdy. We don't treat it like a wilting petunia or anything like that. It's very strong. But definitely need one of these for measuring your liquids. And then you need measuring cups for measuring your dry ingredients. So things like flour, sugar, that sort of thing. Now, the other day I talked to you about the measuring spoons, and I'm going to be honest with you. I'm replacing my measuring cups. I got these not too long ago, maybe 2 years ago, and I thought they were really cool because they didn't take up a lot of space in my drawer. I don't have a lot of space in the drawer, you know, it's a premium, so I didn't want just a bunch of cups in there taking up space, and so these are collapsible, and I thought that that was pretty cool. I still think it's pretty cool, but here's the thing about these that I don't like. This center part that's showing up green for you is made out of a kind of a silicone rubbery material. That's what lets it flex down like that. And it has stuff cling to it, it's staticky. I feel like I can't always maybe get it as clean as I'd like to, or when I'm measuring ingredients, stuff is sticking on the inside. So you definitely need a set of measuring cups, but I'm going to recommend going back to the metal ones, similar to the spoons that I showed you the other day. This is a clever idea for storage, but for me, I think it doesn't function as well as I would like it to. The measuring cups are going to come in different sizes, and they're labeled on the handles what they are. And so these are great for baking. So if you're going to be doing any sort of baking where you have to measure things like flour, sugar, that sort of thing, you're going to need a set of this type of dry ingredient measuring cup. The next thing that we're going to talk about are spatulas. Now, so here's a spatula, or you might call it a flipper, right? So here's a spatula, and this is great for going underneath and turning over pancakes, waffles, French toast, a grilled cheese sandwich, hamburgers. Even, again, you could get under some small pieces of meat like pork chops or whatever, but it's going in there and flipping something over. It's also kind of great for stirring things around or scraping things up off the bottom. But again, this one is metal, so you want to be careful. You can't use something like this in a nonstick pan. This one would be in stainless steel, or again on a cookie sheet or a glass pan, something like that. So definitely I have this as an essential, all right? But for those non-stick pans, you're going to want something that's kind of the same as that, only in plastic. So something like this, again, that's flexible. It's not going to scratch the non-stick surface. you can see that, I mean, they're like the same thing. Okay, only just made out of a different material. So this one's great when you're making an omelet or scrambling eggs and you're going in there in a nonstick pan and you need that sort of flippability. Now, the other thing I'll tell you, so one of those is an essential, one of each, a metal one and a plastic one. I also happen to like this little guy, and it's the same kind of thing, but this one has a much thinner edge. It's actually super flexible. This one I liked a lot. I make blini, which are like the Russian version of crepes, super thin pancakes, and this is really nice for getting around the edge there. Same thing if you're making an omelet and you want to be able to get around the edge. This is a very thin edge. This one I would not say is essential, but if you find it and you have the amount in your budget to be able to get it, it'd be nice to have both of these. This one's essential, this one's an extra. Another essential is a slotted spoon, or in this case I have a slotted scoop. So slotted meaning it has the openings here to allow water to go through. So this is great for if you've got tortellini, dumplings, matzo ball, something in water that you need to be able to lift out and have that water drain below, and then whatever you've scooped out is up here in the top to be able to take out. So definitely one of these. You can also use it for vegetables if you've got, green beans or something like that in a pot with a little bit of water and you don't want them to be super runny when you're scooping them out. You don't want veggies with the side of water. So this lets that liquid drain out below, and then you just have whatever you're taking out of the pan up here in the top. So definitely a slotted spoon or a slotted scoop like this, very handy. Two more to go. The next thing, and again, you might think you don't need these. These are glass baking dishes, so these are glass mixing bowls, rather. So glass mixing bowls, a lot of people think you wouldn't need them unless you're doing baking, but here's the thing. I'll let you know a couple of things that I use these for all the time. Number one, if I'm making big omelets or quiche and I need to mix a lot of eggs, I'll get out a bowl to mix them in. If I'm making potato salad, oops, crash. If I'm making potato salad, I'm going to put that in the bowl, macaroni salad, anything like that. A big fruit salad, something like that if you're taking it to a picnic or having people over. So definitely a big bowl. It can work as a serving bowl too, but it's good for mixing. If you do get into baking and you want to make, even if you're not baking from scratch, but you're going to make a mix of brownies or cake or something, you need a mixing bowl to do that in. So glass mixing bowls, usually they come in a set of 3. Again, different brands, Pyrex, Anchor Hocking, that sort of thing. So a set of glass mixing bowls, it's an essential. And then the last thing is a cutting board. Now, you can get a wooden cutting board, you can get a plastic cutting board, but we talked about knives, we talked about cutting up vegetables and things like that, and so you need a surface to do that. You don't want to do that right on your counter. So a cutting board is an essential. Here's the thing about a cutting board. I'm going to give you an extra bonus tip. If you look on this cutting board, you see on the bottom it's got little feet. These happen to be rubber feet, so when this cutting board is on the counter, it doesn't slide. But not all cutting boards have that. Some cutting boards just have a flat surface on the back, and it can rock on your counter a little bit, or it can slide, and that'd be super dangerous if you're using that really sharp knife. So here's a tip to you. All you have to do is pull out one of your kitchen towels, all right, and just lay that on the counter, and then put your cutting board on top of it. Now, here's where the secret comes in. You could do that, and it still may slide a little bit, so here's the secret. Get this towel a little bit damp. I don't mean dripping wet, but a little bit damp, and then put it on your counter and put the board on it. That dampness between the towel and the board is going to hold that board steady, and again between the towel and the countertop is going to hold it steady. And then when you're all done cutting and you remove the board, you've got a little bit of a damp towel to wipe down your counter or your surface, finish up your cleaning with, and you're good to go. So those are my tips, you guys. The essentials: a thermometer for the meat, some sort of tongs for the stainless steel and for the nonstick cookware, measuring cups for liquid and for dry ingredients, spatula or flipper for stainless steel and nonstick, and then you need some sort of a cutting board and a set of mixing bowls. Those are my tips for tonight, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.